If I asked you the question, what do you believe is mankind's greatest achievement, you may answer with language, the printing press, or even flight. All are very valid answers, but for most of my life, I would have confidently told you that the answer was the internet. I say told because I was absolutely certain that that was the best answer. I mean, an entire world connected by invisible strings, able to break down the barriers that were arbitrarily kept there for centuries. The idea always felt like pure magic. And in some ways, it is. I would have never become the person that I am now if not for the internet. I would have never discovered the positive role models, or the passions and interests that I still am interested in to this day, or the friends that I've met that I would have never been able to in my day-to-day life. I mean, I'm talking to you on YouTube. Obviously, I have a deep passion for the internet and what it provides. But in recent years, I've seen what you've all seen. There's a common consensus that the internet has changed and that it's changing us. To my eyes, there's an increase in something pretty worrying. Something that has me wondering, was the internet a mistake? Is this a story of the internet as a uniting force? Or is this a story of social media and the death of empathy? Our story begins with renowned TikToker Noah Glenn Carter. On November 27th, Noah posted a TikTok that showed his childhood home burning to the ground. My instant reaction was one of sympathy. I mean, that is just a horrible thing to have to go through. I'm sure everyone in the comments is being supportive, understanding, and kind. Let me just, bad news. The comments are not being supportive, understanding, and kind. Why not put it out? Or at least try, instead of crying in the camera for TikTok. Facepalm emoji. Bro made a TikTok of his house burning down. 4 skull emojis. Tax write-off. For views? Shrugging emoji. Oh no, my house is burning down. Gotta make a TikTok about it. Nobody cares. He's just using it for clout. Wouldn't be surprised if he did this for clout. Anything for clout. Bro should have called the fire department. But no, let me record a video on TikTok. Why don't he call the firefighters? Unimpressed emoji. Lol. Recoding himself instead of helping. Normal people. OMG, the house is burning. Call the fire department. Noah. Maybe I should make a TikTok of this real quick. Whose first instinct is to make a TikTok when your house is burnt? 4 crying emojis. I somewhat understand this comment and some of the sentiments in the rest of them. Because to someone that isn't a content creator, this feels weird to pull out your phone and record during a crisis. But let's think a little bit before we comment. First off, there's a period of time where the fire department has to actually dispatch a truck out after you've called them. During this time, you have to sit and watch helplessly. I can only imagine the powerlessness that someone must feel in that moment. All that they can think to do is to reach out to someone for some comfort or a shoulder to cry on. For a content creator, that may be their audience. Often their audience feels like a friend, or at least someone to talk to, especially if there aren't any other people around at the time that this is happening. Second, you're telling me that in the modern age, you wouldn't record this? Not only is it a crazy experience that people will ask about, but you also want to record the last living image of your home. You would know in that moment that this is the last chance you would ever have to look back on your childhood home and see it before it's all gone. You would record it too. Third, if you think you can put the phone down and go help, you're way dumber than the guy recording the TikTok. Do you understand how fast and uncontrollable a house fire is after the initial fire breaks out? It is unstoppable for a family. Heck, it's unstoppable for a community. Even the people that call themselves firefighters couldn't put it out. So what makes you think that he could have single-handedly put out the fire with a sink that's probably on fire and a bucket that's definitely on fire? And last, if you commented something like, wouldn't be surprised if he did this for clout, or tax write-off, or insurance fraud, you are way too far gone and your mind works in a cold, warped manner. Your first thought in response to a guy that is obviously emotional and that tells you that this is his childhood home with every sentimental memory attached to it, that all of his childhood possessions are lost, and that lives with people that he obviously cares deeply for, is that he set the house on fire for more followers. That's such a pessimistic view of society that I would not want to interact with you at all. Even if he somehow set the fire and no one knows about it, doesn't matter. Because you assumed that he did, with little doubt in your mind and no evidence. Does your mind just always look for the worst in people? Have a little faith
Justin,
in people.
you're doing it right now.
Huh?
You're acting like them.
You're right. I'm sorry. Let's move on to the next one. This next clip comes from user Danielle Vizcara 22. In this clip, she tells a heart-wrenching story about her feelings of guilt and failure at the lack of turnout for her boyfriend's birthday party. As soon as I saw this clip, I felt for her so much. Her emotion is palpable, and it shows how important her boyfriend is to her and how much this means to her. She really wanted to make this birthday special, and she feels like she failed him. If you've been in a relationship, you've probably been in a similar situation yourself. So I was a little bit shocked to find that almost unanimously, people were blaming her for this. Saying things like, nobody likes her, not him, have some self-reflection, or can 100% guarantee that this is her fault. I feel like we will find soon enough that she wanted guests to pay to attend. Mike comes in with a reasonable take for once. Stinks. People get older, busier, move away. But man, that's brutal. I agree, Mike. I agree. Maybe they don't like her. They all probably texted him on the side and said, sorry bro, I just can't be around that girlfriend of yours for that long. And then Brocklanders comes in with the second reasonable take of the video. She seems good-hearted. Most guys would be lucky to have someone as caring as her, although her and his parents should have never rented out a place without getting assured of enough people to attend his birthday. After I saw these comments, I also stumbled across this Barstool Sports article that's written by a big Tennessee, and it is absolutely pitiful. The article started with, okay, there is much to unpack here. I don't remember the last internet video that got me this fired up. And I thought, oh wow, he's actually gonna defend her. Good on you, Barstool Sports. I was wrong. Big Tennessee starts by saying, that brings us to the very obvious first issue with this whole thing. Having a 30th birthday party as a man? There is simply no reason to have an all-out birthday party as a grown man. Fellas, is it gay to celebrate being alive with your buddies? Sounds like some projection to me. We get it, you're proud that your friends don't want to make the effort to spend time with you. In fact, you're probably an awful human being. No one likes you. No one cares about you or anything that you're doing. It's obvious, really. Go look in the mirror and...
Justin, what's gotten into you?
There's a part of my heart that doesn't work the same. The rest of me has become a synthetic brain. I've become unfeeling, yeah, I'm unreal. I've become unfeeling, yeah, I'm unreal.
I'm sorry, guys. All of this social media stuff is blinding me. I'm losing touch with my own empathy every time I open Twitter. This past year, my feed has showed me someone dying or being severely injured every single time I open the app. And it's exhausting. It's desensitizing. I really do believe that these people on social media are being unnecessarily cruel, and I do not condone or excuse that behavior in the slightest. There's a huge mindset problem where everyone feels like they need to weigh in and solve every problem. But not everything is a puzzle for an internet detective to solve. Sometimes people just want to talk through their feelings. It's human nature, and these people are forgetting that. They're just assuming that all of these people want clout every time they post. But the blame does not rest entirely on their shoulders, not even in the slightest. This really is a story about social media and the death of empathy. As in, the social media titans are the ones at fault here. In truth, not much has changed about how people act online. Sure, there are more insane people than there ever have been, but there's always been insane people on the internet. The real issue is how the social media companies prioritize engagement over mental health. They push the most insane, controversial things to the forefront of their social media because moral outrage is a great way to fire people up and make them feel like social media isn't just useful, but necessary. I've got to help my side win the war wasn't the intention of these social media companies, but it is the side effect of an algorithm that prioritizes profit over the common good. We may even be at the lowest point in the history of social media, but there's still hope. Those answers that I gave at the beginning of the video to the question, what do you believe is mankind's greatest achievement? Language, the printing press, or flight? They all have one thing in common: initial failure. In retrospect, we forget that with each of these inventions, there was insane social upheaval. People had to learn how to live and operate with these things. We had to learn how to create societal structures around language and culture. We had to learn how to live in a larger bubble when the printing press expanded our horizons. And that's the reason that I still have hope. We are just getting started with social media. And I'm sure, like always, we'll eventually figure